Visit tcgcastle.com and get 5% discount on your first purchase with TCG Center 5 code. How's it going, guys? Once again, welcome back to Pokemon TCG Center. In today's video, we'll be looking at deck for the standard format, and it's gonna be a Arcanine break featuring Volcanion and Octillery. So first of all, I want to say that this is deck dedicated to one of my subscribers who actually asked me, can I build Arcanine break deck for him, because Arcanine is his favorite Pokemon. So if you would like to see something on this channel, I can do it for you. So if you don't have cards and you would like to see some Pokemons in action or some crazy ideas, well, you can definitely ask for it. So I decided to build a Arcanine break for him. So 160 HP break evolution, so something like a stage 2 with Turbo Flame. So with one Colorless Energy and one Fire Energy, Turbo Flame can go for 80, and you can attach energy cards from your discard pile to your bench Pokemon. So to one of your bench Pokemons. So basically, with Volcanion and Arcanine break, we can just recycle energies and we can have energy flow in this deck. On the other side, 160 HP is not that easy to knock out. Of course, if it's on the other side, water deck is going to be easy to knock him out. But overall, there are two Arcanines. The one with the Firestorm for 190 and the one with the Scorching Breath for 150. So with the Burning Road, this Pokemon can just easily, once during your turn, if this Pokemon was on the bench and became your active Pokemon this turn, you might just move any number of Fire Energy attached to your Pokemon to this Pokemon. With the XP share, Arcanine can just simply absorb the energies and then just surprise opponent from nowhere. Either way, with the Burning Road and Scorching Breath, or with the Firestorm for 190, 210 with the Professor Kukui, or 170 with the Scorching Breath. In my opinion, very powerful, especially for the 90X attackers. So 16 Pokemon, 32 trainer cards, and 12 energies, which means, of course, 60 cards as usual in total. I decided to go with 4 copies of Growlithe from the evolution, because Hand Kick is a very powerful attack, because you can just strike for 10 and switch to one of your bench Pokemons. To retreat cost, of course, let's imagine turn 1 without Float Stone or Escape Rope, we can always escape to that Volcanion on the bench, if we pull it later. 4 Arcanines, 2 of them are going to be the Evolution Arcanines, and 2 of them are going to be those Arcanines from the latest Sun and Moon set. I don't know when I hit the right button why he just randomly putting me on the left. That's interesting. 3 copies of Arcanine breaks, as I mentioned earlier, and 3 copies of Volcanion with that Power Heater. Very powerful attack. I really like it, just because I can simply strike for 20, 40 with Professor Kukui, and attach those Fire Energies from the discard pile to my Growlithes or Arcanines on the bench. Instead of the Shaman, because this is a budget build, a 90X build, I like to play with the 90X builds and budget builds. I decided to go with 1 copy of Remoraid and Octillery. Very powerful, Abyssal Hand. Even if I'm gonna be strike with the end, I can always draw cards till I have 6. So item card list. You're not gonna believe me, I decided to go with 2 copies of Escape Rope. That's just reason, because if my opponent cannot one-hit knock on my Arcanine or Arcanine break, if I use my Scorching Breath for 150, I cannot attack next turn, so I can always Escape Rope to my Pokemon the Float Stone and then just switch or actually retreat back to my Arcanine for 150 again. Very powerful. But still, I can trade maybe my opponent 90X for EX with Escape Rope, or even get something that I can one-hit knockout. 3 copies of Trainers Mails, 4 copies of Ultra Balls, of course, and 4 copies of the Seeker, so I can put supporter card from my discard pile back into my hand and play it. Stadium card, I was in doubt about that Sound Lab, but overall I decided to go with the Scorched Earth, just because Scorched Earth could actually give me the extra drop support and advantage with the setup. So supporter line is huge. I'm running like 10 plus supporter cards, and that's the reason you need to have tons of supporter cards when you run budget builds. Single Brigette. Search your deck for 1 basic Pokemon EX or up to 3 basic Pokemons. Put them on the bench. Very good for this kind of build, because we can easily get Remoraids and Growlithes on the bench. Brock's Grid. Shuffle 16 any combination Pokemons and basic energy from discard pile in your deck. Makes a lot of sense, because we really need those Arcanine lines and Volcanions. Super Road is not that good, just running 1 in deck like this. Hex Maniac, of course, always good to have as 1 copy of Lysandre. For draw support, I have 2 copies of N. 4 copies of Professor Sycamore, and 1 copy of Professor Kukui, who can also give it draw 2 cards and 20 extra damage, which I really like. Single Pokemon Ranger, always good to have. You never know when we can face something like Crystal Ray Glaceon, but of course that's going to be auto loss for us. And on the other side, that Scorched Earth. So yeah, Ranger makes a lot of sense. One single copy of Wally. I really like it because from nowhere I can actually put Remoraid into Octillery turn 1, or for example I can just Growlithe turn 2 into Arcanine and then just Wally into Arcanine Break and have that 80 damage and acceleration from 2 energies from my discard pile. 2 copies of XP Share because tools cannot be removed easily, and XP Share makes a lot of sense because I really need to keep those energy flow and energy cards because all of Arcanine attacks are going to be very expensive. 4 energies and 4 energies. For 150 and 190. There's a reason why 2 copies of XP Share makes a lot of sense. Same as 2 copies of Float Stone. I mentioned earlier why Float Stone is important. And 12 energies in total. 2 of them are going to be just the burning energies, and 10 of them are going to be basic energies. That's very important because Volcanion can only attach basic energy cards, when on the other side, Turbo Flame, Arcanine Break can also attach only basic energy cards. If we want to go for 190, to be honest, even 1 Burning Energy on Arcanine with Firestorm is enough, just because I'm gonna, in that situation, discard 2 basic and 1 Burning Energy and still have 2 energies, and next turn I can just add 1 and still use my Searing Flame for 60 and burn my opponent, or I can just retreat actually to my other Arcanine and then just use my Burning Road, which is broken. And of course 10 basic energies I mentioned for those attacks and the Scorched Earths, and of course for the energy accelerations. If you're looking for any of these cards, you can find them on ccgcastle.com with TCG Center FAC code. You can also get 5% discount on your first purchase. If you're looking to trade your old bulk, the cards needs to be never played or in near mint condition. You can trade 1,400 cards in exchange for Sun and Moon booster box. You can find all details in my video description. So if you're looking to do that, no basic energies can be applied for the trade, so make sure to check that, because in my opinion that's pretty cool to get fresh box, fresh new cards in exchange for the old bulk that you actually don't need. So let's do one game test so you can actually see how the legendary Arcanine Break bids even more powerful Rayquaza Mega without problems. So see in the game. Alright, so I'm gonna start first. Okay, very nice opening hand, to be honest. There's one Volcanion, unfortunately no energy, but I might pull one. Brigette? Yeah, Brigette for the setup, definitely. There's Wally, there's Trainers Mail, there's Ultra Ball, there's plenty of different options that I can actually do. Okay, one Growlithe as the top deck. And another Growlithe as the top deck. Alright, so in this situation, I'm gonna Ultra Ball for, and let it be Trainer's Mail. Yeah, let's take the risk. If there's no, okay, there is a Remoraid and a Wally for Octillery. So turn 1, I'm gonna have very powerful setup. So this is a Octillery, and I can Abyssal Hint, drop some extra cards. Alright, and there's also one Fire Energy. Do I want to use advantage of that Scorched Earth at this moment? No, I'm just gonna pass my turn for now. Just because I know that my opponent will be capable to set up Beastly with that Skyfield. So I'm looking forward to counter his Skyfield on the next turn somehow, if it's possible. Of course, there's already a Trainer's Mail for Ultra Ball, so playing against Mega Rayquaza is going to be a little bit harder, just because with 5 Pokemons he can go for 150. It's going to be more than enough, almost a one-hit knock on everything, except for the Arcanine Break, who's 160. But still, Arcanine Break is a very interesting deck, very funny deck to play, but not even close to be good as some other budget builds like Passimian, New, or for example Medicham with the Barrage. Just couple budget builds that are much better than this one. Alright, so this is a Shaming for 1 and another Ultra Ball. Okay, so right now, at least for me, it looks promising, because my opponent only managed to set up for 1 card, and that's going to be Ultra Ball, probably for another Hoopa maybe. But if there's no Hoopa, then I can assume it's going to be Ultra Ball for another setup of 3 cards, which actually puts me in a pretty good and comfortable mode. Even, oh, just a Ultra Ball for Anon with a Firewall Leather. Alright, so that's pretty bad. I mean, Intensifying Burn can always go for like a 10, but oh, another Shaming. Okay, that explains a lot. That actually explains a lot. So this is a setup for 4 instead of the 2 or 3 maybe. And another Ultra Ball. Alright, so this might be right now... okay, so another Skyfield discarded. This is very important, because if I can counter my opponent's stadiums, maybe I can win somehow this battle now with my Arcanine Break, just because I'm gonna force my opponent to strike twice in order to knock out my Arcanine Break with 160 HP. So there are 2 Anos with the Firewall Letters, but of course, if you want to discard them, there's gonna be a damage reduction for you. And the best thing is that I'm gonna just right now counter my opponent Stadium, counter his Skyfield, which means that he already had 2 of them in his discard pile. Then I'm gonna play, let's see, 1 Scorched Earth for 2. Well, there's 1 XP share, not that bad, not that great. What I can do still here, I can play my Brigette, and somehow I'm gonna do that to grab 1 more Growlithe and 1 more Volcanion from my bench. Attach 1 energy and a Weasel Hand for a couple more cards. Maybe I can find energy and Ultra Ball. Nope, just 2 more Ultra Ball, just 2 more energy cards. Okay, I'm gonna Power Healer right now for 20, and this is gonna be 1 energy attachment to my Growlithe without XP share. Because after I get knockout, my Growlithe will have 1 energy with the XP share. It's definitely bad because, as you can see, I didn't have a single Arcanine this turn. So I'm doing pretty slow piece at this moment. But for next turn, for example, I can end my opponent always. But somehow I don't feel comfortable doing that. Not at all. Intense Dragon Pearls for... okay, there's a Delta Rayquaza. With that Delta Max, so he healed all damage counters with that Rayquaza. Well, that's gonna be a little bit harder, and the V-Seeker for N. So, luckily for me, he decided to play that N, and I'm gonna get a couple more new cards here. There's 1 Burning Energy, Arcanine Break, a Trainer's Mail. All right, Float Stone. Yeah, right now he has Float Stone, so my Escape Ropes are gonna be so unaffected. There is also 3rd Skyfield, so right now it's very important to counter somehow that Skyfield, and he decided not to put it into play. And of course that's a knockout. Only 1 prize at this moment for my opponent, only 1 prize. Lysandre top deck is the best thing I can get, to be honest. So can I get 1? I don't know, maybe, but just maybe. So Trainer's Mail for just another Ultra Ball. Yeah, not something I was expecting. So Ultra Ball, let it be for that Burning Energy. Let it be for the Arcanine, who can actually strike for 190. So I'm still digging with a Weasel Hand for something, somehow. Okay. Another energy card. In this situation, I simply cannot afford myself to discard so many valuable resources like those Arcanine breaks, so I'm just gonna grab another Volcanion, because it's gonna be important to have another Volcanion next turn on the bench. And I'm gonna use my Power Healer. It's gonna be just 20 damage. Yeah, I know, I'm gonna need that Professor Kukui, no doubt about it. But my Arcanines already getting some energy cards, which is important. So another Rayquaza Spirit Link. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to use my Firestorm for 190 next turn. Just because I was not that smart. First thing that can happen to me is definitely next turn Lysandre to my Octillery. That would be so devastating. So 180. There we go. Time for another Volcanion. And time for some Arcanine breaks to came into play. So 1, 2 Arcanine breaks. So right now I'm looking for a Stadium. There we go, there is a Stadium card, which is very important. So I can counter again my opponent's Skyfield and get 2 more cards into my hand. And strike for 20, and power up my Arcanine for that Firestorm and 190 next turn. That's going to be very, very important. It's going to be very important. So 1 more Steam Up. Trainers Mail, what can I find with the Trainers Mail? Just a VS Seeker, well yeah, just a VS Seeker, so is it worth maybe to play that? And he has 4 cards in his hand, he might be able to license one of my Arcanines. Tell you what, let's go with the Sycamore for 7. More energies, more resources, and there's Professor Kukui. So power hitter for 20. Alright, let it be something like this. So without Skyfield, he can't go for 160 without Professor Kukui or Giovanni's King, which means that he cannot one-hit knock none of my Arcanine breaks. And that's very important. So 150 is the max damage this Rayquaza is capable to output right now. On the other side, I have Professor Kukui, which means that I can go for 170 with something like Scorching Bread. Yeah, I know it's still not going to be enough for the one-hit knockout. And on the other side, his second Rayquaza is ready. Oh, there's 1 Fireball Leather, alright. 1 Fireball Leather, probably he have 3 Skyfields. Yeah, there's another one, so I'm going to lose that. Stadium Ward, this Rayquaza is going to be capable for the one-hit knockout. I'm not running Deliquent, unfortunately. I wish I had one so I could just Deliquent his hand. There's a Dragonite, so he could pull up 2 more Unknowns and have like 6 Pokemons for 180. Yeah, that's insane. That's definitely insane. And there's 1 Sycamore for 7, so there's probably going to be another Mega Rayquaza and a couple more Shaymin EXs. Yep, there we go. Speaking about Mega Rayquaza, right now, yeah, I need to pull something big here. Something like a knockout against his Mega Ray, and then knockout against his Maturnia, and then somehow knockout against that Hoopa on the bench, which is not gonna be that easy, but I'm just looking forward to do my best. Right now, I need to be smart, so if I want to go for 1-8 knockout for 190, of course I'm gonna need that. So I need to strike for 40, 180. None of these Pokemons can go for 180 except for the Arcanine with a Firestorm. So I'm gonna go with the Hex Maniac. Is a very interesting card, and is even more better. In a situation like this, I simply want to put my opponent to 3 cards, and still I'm getting a lot of resources here. Still I'm getting a lot of resources, but not a single Float Stone or Escape Rope, which is kind of confused. So at least I can go for 190. So plus 40, that's 230. That's more than enough for the 1-hit knockout. Yeah, I need to discard 3 energies in my discard pile. Actually only 2, because I have 1 Burning Energy. So there's finally Float Stone and another XP share. A little bit too late for that XP share, a little bit too late. So if I can somehow prevent my opponent from doing damage this turn, well, next turn I can knock out his Maturnia. I'm just looking for a single Shaymin on the bench, and that's gonna be it. That's gonna be all I really need to win this game. A single Shaymin on his bench. So I can next turn Lysandre his Maturnia, and turn after that just Lysandre that Shaymin, because I have XP share, I have enough resources here, so I just need 1 more energy card, which is gonna be energy from the Arcanine after he gets knocked out. To be honest, I even see my victory at this moment here. So Majournia is weak, so that's going to be a single blow knockout with my Arcanine. Yeah, I wish I could even go for the Flare for the knockout, but I can't. So 3 energies, no doubt about it, 210. A pure knockout from that Mega Rayquaza. Alright. 120, yeah. 210, that's the knockout. One very important energy. If this Pokemon was on the bench and become your active Pokemon this turn. Let's put Growlithe in the front. Alright. And the Float Stone on it. So I'm gonna go Retreat. Yes, of course I want to absorb 1 energy, 2 energies, 3 energies. Alright, that's okay. Then I want to play my Lysandre, and I want to max out his Majournia on the bench for 150. So I'm gonna be short for 1 energy card. So far I have 4 energies, 8, 10 energies. I have 2 more energies left. That's all fine. That's all fine. Putting 1 to the Octillery. And this is going to be a Scorched Breath for 150 times 2. It's going to be 300. And of course I'm going to pull 2 prize cards here. Ultra Ball and Fire Energy. So it looks like if my opponent does not have any in his hand, this game is over for him. So he definitely needs to end, but on the other side I have Mr. Octillery for a Beazle hand, and still I might pull a V-Seeker and energy for the victory. No, Emerald Break for 150, which means for 210, which means that I can simply put 1 energy to my Arcanine on the bench, put 1 to my Octillery, and promote my Arcanine in the front. There we go. So 1 Arcanine for 150. This is going to be energy top deck, and there's going to be a V-Seeker for victory. So V-Seeker for that Lysandre, where I can simply Lysandre his Shaymin on the bench and go for 150. I could even go for 170 with this Arcanine, which would be more than enough for the one-hit knockout. Any EX with 170 or less. But still, I'm kind of surprised how I managed to score victory in this match. Well, it's not something new, just because trading 1 prize for 2 prizes overall can be devastating for your opponent. So I hope you guys enjoy watching this video. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos. If you would like to see something on my channel, some deck profile, you should actually ask me so I can build that for you. So this was the deck dedicated to one of my subscribers who actually asked me, can I build a deck with the Arcanine Break for him, because the Arcanine is his favorite Pokemon in the game, and I decided to build a Arcanine Break with the Volcanion. So once again guys, have a nice day, see you in the next video wherever you are, so stay tuned for more videos, and goodbye.